appeared in Jakarta and soon spread to another cities. In several places, there were classes and large-scale arrests. Some online features were restricted, making it harder for people to share what was happening. 10 people have died, over 3,000 people have been detained, and over 1,000 people have been injured and taken to the hospitals. The demonstration have now subsided, but authorities have not ensured the release of those detained, and justice has not been delivered to victims and their families. This is why we are addressing to the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, or OHCHR. The situation shows shrinking democratic space, excessive use of force, military-style deployment in civilian protests, mass arbitrary arrests with risk of disappearance, and restriction online that reduce transparency. We are asking OHCHR to monitor, investigate, and report on what is happening in Indonesia. With that context, we will move to the reading of our open letter to OHCHR. On behalf of the civil society, the letter will be read by Vira from Legal Aid Foundation, or YLBHI, Dimas from Contrast, and Bima from Celius.
Open letter to OHCHR, urgent call to monitor, investigate, and report the escalating crisis in Indonesia. Jakarta, 12 September 2025. To the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, or OHCHR. Dear High Commissioner, we write this grave concern to urgently draw your attention to the escalating crisis in Indonesia, which demonstrate a severe democratic and human rights decline, pervasive police brutality, and troubling military involvement in civilians' affairs, which creates a severe climate of fear. There has also been a growing concern where enforced disappearances are re-practiced in silencing dissent, mirroring a pattern of authoritarianism during Suharto regime on 1965 to 1988. The situation has deteriorated rapidly over the past week, threatening the fundamental rights and safety of the Indonesian citizens. For context and severity of the events, on 25 August 2025, public outrage erupted in Jakarta in response to the excessive allowance granted to members of House of Representatives, or DPR, despite the economic turbulence in the states from mass layoffs to budget cuts for education. Demonstrators, including students, workers, online motorcycle taxi driver, or ojol, and other civil society elements demanded transparency in government salaries and the cancellations of the proposed increase. The protests ended in disorder with police excessively using tear gas and water cannons. On 27 to 28 August 2025, labor unions and student groups joined the demonstration with demands ranging from ending outsourcing to higher minimum wages. While initially peaceful, the protests quickly turned violent. Security forces, including tactical police units, or BRIMOB, used excessive force. A major incident occurred when police vehicle fatally ran over a driver, Afan Kurniawan, when he was a non-protester at that time. An ojol, Muhammad Umar Amarudin, was seriously injured. In the same timeline, a pedicab driver, Sumardi, has died as he inhaled a tear gas while he was asleep in his cab. The incident was widely circulated on social media, inciting further public outrage and mobilizations. On 29 to 31 August 2025, protests spread to other major cities and sub-districts, including Bandung, Surabaya, Makassar, Manokwari, Solo, Tegal, Bengkulu, Ciamis, Malang, Denpasar, and Medan. Demonstrators clashed with security forces, resulting in arsons, property damage, and injuries. Police reported over 1,200 arrests, including children, and authorities used tear gas, water cannons, rubber bullet, and physical force against the demonstrators. However, Reports indicate that some protesters were met with military involvement, highlighting the blurred lines within civilians' policing and military enforcement. On September 1st, 2025, demonstrations continued in front of the DPR and the People Consultative Assembly or MPR buildings, with students and youth organizations demanding justice for victims of police violence and calling for accountability. Protests emphasize that ongoing repression signals a troubling shift towards authoritarian governance. As of this date, a total of 10 individuals from various provinces across Indonesia have died in connection with the demonstrations. By 2 September, more than 3,300 civilians had also been arrested, with report that some were arbitrarily detained, coerced and intimidated into signing official statements, and denied access to adequate legal assistance. Civil society groups further stressed that the police only publicly acknowledge limited figures, while many detainees' whereabouts have not been disclosed to their family.
Okay, greetings. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to continue our open letters regarding with the situation that's still arising, that actually still related with the mass demonstration that happening in 25 until 31 August. The Indonesian government official response to OHCHR press statement. On 1 September 2025, after the Office of High Commissioner on Human Rights released a statement for the Indonesian government to truly investigate numerous human rights violations that were happening during the protests, several government officials already released statements which exacerbated the situation. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated in responding to the situation in the field, law enforcement officials carry out their duties based on human rights principles and standards. The measures taken are aimed at maintaining public order, protecting civilians, and securing public facilities in proportionate manners, which is not aligned with the data we have received on how the police use excessive use of force and weapons to dismiss protesters. In Bandung, police apparatus attacked 2 university campuses with 60 expired tear gas after the crowd left the protest area. Both universities are used as a medical post at that time. The Minister of Human Rights, Natalius Pigai, stated that UN statement, Indonesia has taken steps 3 days faster than the Office of High Commissioner on Human Rights spokespersons, which implies the death of a taxi driver. Pigai believed that President Prabowo has taken care of the family of the late Afan, the taxi drivers, according to the human rights principle. The Deputy Chairman of Commission 1 on Parliaments, Dev Laksono, emphasized that Indonesia has its own sovereignty, binding laws and regulation for its citizens, which highly implies that the Office of High Commissioner on Human Rights statement will not influence any government initial response to the protests. We also emphasize the use of draconian articles under Electronic on Information and Transaction Law, ITA law. Harik Anhar, a student activist from Universitas Riau or Riau University, and the admin of social media account Aliansi Mahasiswa Penggugat, was arrested at Soekarno-Hatta Airport on August 29, 2025. Prior to his detention, the police also arrested Wawan Hermawan, admin of social media account Bekasi Menggugat. They were charged under Article 32, Paragraph 1 and 2, and Article 35 of Indonesian Electronic Information and Transaction Law for posting satirical content on social media in parallel to the ongoing protests. Harik legal team and human rights group strongly believe that legitimate exercise of his freedom of expression was arbitrarily criminalized, pointing out several serious procedure violations such as arrest without warrant, unlawful phone seizure, restricted access to the legal counsel, and suspected physical abuses, even on the aspect of torture. Prior to his arrest, Harik had been a victim of doxing, intimidation, and harassment. Civil society organization and thousands of students have condemned his detention as an attempt to silence criticism and then such a misuse of ITA law as a draconian article. To suppress dissent would severely undermine democratic space. Lokataru Executive Director Del Pedro Marhen also arrested at 10 p.m. on 1 September 2025 in Lokataru office without any notice and also a further warrant arrest. His staff, Muzaffar, was also arrested the day after Del Pedro arrested. Later on, they were accused of first, Article 160 of Criminal Code regarding the criminal act of incitement, namely on act committed by a person in public, verbally or in writing, that encourage others to commit a criminal act, violence against public authorities, or disobeying lawful orders. The second one, they also violated the Article 87, Article 76, H, and also Article 15 of Child Protection Law regarding involvement of minors demonstration because of the accusation of spreading the poster to join the 25 August demonstration that triggering high school students to join. This article is being used because they are accused of inciting high school students to commit acts of violence and vandalism. In reality, what Lokataru did was provide a legal assistance to high school demonstrators who were mass arrested and subjected to violence by the police. Both were also accused of violating the Article 45A, paragraph 3, and also Article 28, paragraph 3 of Electronic Information and Transaction Law, or ITA law, regulating the penalties for dissemination of digital content that they know contain false information causing physical public unrest. Along with the criminalization of legitimate online expression, there has been a systematic escalation of digital attacks targeting civil society actors in Indonesia. The personal WhatsApp contact of civil society coalition leader were maliciously circulated, falsely presented as belonging to the members of the Indonesian House of Representatives. This is also a deliberate disinformation campaign resulted in mass spam, harassment, and serious security threats. Furthermore, individual and organization who express dissenting view or mobilize support for ongoing protests have been subjected to coordinated digital intimidation, including threats such as doxing, gender-based online violence, phishing attempt, and other cyber attacks.
Thank you, Mas Dimas and Mbak Fira. I would like to continue with the key concerns. Number one, our key concerns related to the democratic decline. The Indonesian government aggressive response to peaceful demonstrations undermine democratic institutions and suppress freedom of expressions. Citizens face heightened risk when exercising the right to protest. Number two, related to the police brutality. Security forces have systematically employed excessive and lethal force, including the excessive and unlawful use of the crowd control weapon, leading to fatalities, injuries, and widespread fear among civilians. Number three, military involvement. The deployment of the military-style unit in civilian protests is a signal of a dangerous enroachment of military authority in domestic affairs, threatening the separations between civilian government or governance and military power. Number four, the mass arbitrary arrests and enforced disappearance risk, echoing the pattern of 1998. Authorities have conducted mass arbitrary arrests, often targeting protesters during or after demonstrations. Many detainee whereabouts are concealed from their family, obstructing legal assistance, and raise serious concerns over the potential for enforced disappearance. And the number five, the use of draconian article under the ITE law, number four, so ITE law for activists and other digital repressions, including bans on the live features of TikTok, the social media, platform, which the protester used to live stream the protest area. And we want to urgent call to Office of High Commission of the Human Rights of the United Nations, given the escalating violence and violations of the fundamental human rights, we strongly urge Office of the High Commission of Human Rights to, number one, facilitating UN special procedures to visit. Once again, facilitating UN special procedure to visit and monitor the situation closely and document all incidents of abuse and repressions. Number two, investigate the case of police brutality, including the death of Afan Kurniawan, the ride-hailing apps driver, injuries sustained by protesters, mass arbitrary arrests, patterns of enforced disappearance, and the involvement of military personnel in civilian matters, such as crowd controlling measures. Number three, report finding publicly to ensure accountability, international awareness, and the protections of citizens exercising their democratic rights. And number four, publicly call the Indonesian governments in terms of the current state violence and to immediately cease actions of excessive use of force, state apparatus brutality, to normalize the mirroring of authoritarian practices, including normalizing practices of enforced disappearance. The current situation in Indonesia is severe and demands immediate international attention. Once again, it is severe and demands immediate international attention. Office of High Commission of the Human Rights intervention is crucial to safeguard the human right, uphold accountability, and prevent further democratic erosions. Sincerely, Commissions for Disappeared and Victims of Violence, Kontras, Indonesia Legal Aid Foundations, YLBHI, and Center of Economic and Law Studies, CELIOS. Thank you. Long life democracy.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Vira, Dimas, and Bima. We'll now take a picture together. Okay, once again, thank you, Mas Bima, Mbak Pira, and Mas Dimas. We'll now hear short follow-up remarks from Mas Bima.
Yeah, I think before I made a short remarks or supplement from this press conference, I think first Dimas from Kontras want to update the current of a disappearance status.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mas Bima. I also would like to convey our result on establishing the how can I say that, a complaint post regarding with the enforced disappearances that happened during 25 and 31 August protests. We already gathered 44 complaints, which already we already being identified and verified the information of the complaint, and we already found 41 people that was allegedly enforced disappearances during the protest that was being located in several of the police office, which also including the police regional office and also the police district office and several police posts that happening between in Jakarta, Bandung, and other suburban places near Jakarta. And the three still remain disappeared, which is the name is Reno Syaputra Dewo, Bima Permana Putra, and also Muhammad Farhan Hamid, that was located in the area that was located that was being the location of the protest, which is in Brimob, Mako Brimob in Kuitang, Central Jakarta, and also Bima Permana Putra was last seen in Glodok in West Jakarta. So we already implemented several identification process, but the day up until now, the police still giving like a lot of obstacle to actually convey the access of information to the public related with the several casualties of arrest, and also several people that was arrested, that was being detained and was being persecuted by the police, that because of the involvement during the protest that was happening in 25 until 31 August. So that was the hindrance right now by the families, by the civil society organization to access the information of whereabouts of the remaining 3 that was still being disappeared, because we also noticed that the police, the Indonesian police, still pretty much, very much, pretty difficult to actually release the information, all the clear information, public information related with the total of the arrests and the total of detained people that was being follow or being pretty much join the protest that was around 25 until 31 August. So our demand as well, the international communities, international media, to also spectating and monitoring the situation regarding with the alleged enforced disappearances in Indonesia. This is the same pattern, the same method that was pretty much implemented during the big protest or the mass protest that happening in Indonesia since 1998 or before that. And this is also a serious concern that the practice of enforced disappearances, even though the Indonesian government is yet to ratify the ICCPD or the International Convention on the Protection of All People from the Enforced Disappearances, still not yet ratified by the Indonesian government. But we think that the Indonesian government has obligations to uphold the human rights principle and also to protect all the people in related with the enforced disappearances. So this is our demands, this is our plea to international communities, international medias, and also most specifically to the Indonesian government to uphold and to release the information regarding with the 3 missing persons or 3 disappeared persons, so it can be pretty much being follow up to the several legal assistance measures. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mas Dimas. Next, Mbak.
Yeah, so we are all aware of the current situations of the regime so far, and also within all of the demands that is handed to the government didn't seem to fully appreciate it, and instead it left us the big scars to our civil society, to our freedom of expressions, to our freedom of assembly, and also our rights to protest and rights to be heard. Well, BHI documented around 3,337 cases of arrests from 25 August to September 2, around 18 regions of Indonesia. And we had a little bit difficulties on monitoring on how many persons that is still being detained for all over Indonesia. But according to the data that is provided by the Advocacy Team for Democracy, or TAUD, yesterday, we have the data on to victims that was arrested around Jabodetabek area, which are around 616 people arrested, with at least 8 women being the victims, and 125 of them are still detained. we see that this arrest also violated our own regulations, which includes arrests for more than 24 hours. The arrest was not being informed to the family and colleagues, which then leads to the short-term disappearance, and also efforts from the police to disclose the informations regarding the victim's identity, and also investigation without any legal counselors or advisor, and including not having the rights to choose for their own advocates. And also we see physical violence and search without warrants and licenses. Ironically, those are all form of practices that will be legitimized and will be justified in the new RKUHP, or the revisions of our criminal procedural code, next time that will be passed around October or November this year. And I also would like to raise concerns to our friends who are currently being criminalized, 7 human rights activists, which includes one of them, the executive director of the Lokataru, Del Pedro, and one of his staff, Muzaffar, which we all know has been providing legal assistance to those who were arrested since the August 28th. And also, once again, we see numbers victim of the ITE law against our human rights colleagues that are very active on social media, including Syahdan Hussein, Karik Anhar, Wawan Hermawan, and Laras Faizati. Also, I want to raise a concern that is not yet been addressed by the government. It was the attack on the campus in Bandung, in Unisba and Unpas, which both university was used as a medical post for a couple of days during the protests, and it was supposed to be their safe zones when the protest is clear, but then the police attacked the campus by firing at least 60 expired tear gas to the campus building. Before the police attacks, we already received an information that there was at least 203 people being treated in the medical post in Unisba. The report from the LBH Bandung. This action constituted a violation of human rights and contrary to the 1945 Constitutions on human rights, and contrary also to the Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. And I also see a pattern of negligence by our governments, especially when handling the case of numerous human rights violations that is already happening, such as not giving full credentials on the late Afan Kurniawans. The government only provide money for the late family of Afan and not provide what we should want. That is justice for the family and for Afan itself. I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, I think I want to give a context more about the economic implications of the authoritarian and shift toward the military-driven economy, because democracy also linked to the prosperity, democracy also linked to the free of enterprise, and also linked to the more welfare to the society. I think we can move to the next slide. So here's the background. If we can see that even before there is a mass protest, there is signs that the budget, the military interventions in the food estate, in the free meal programs, the government's inefficiencies that deploy many military personnel in many regions, including the Papua. So the stock market, especially the LQ45, already shows the weakening trend. So since the beginning of the Prabowo administrations, it seems that a lot of the factors, not only the budget, but also the military involvement in the economy, that we see that that's too much, and also those kind of the military involvements and also degraded the civil liberties and civil enterprise to have more good occupations and also have more kind of job opportunities in the regions. So as we can see also, the rupiah compared to the US dollars also sees a weakening trend. The red line shows that after the protest events, even there is a central bank that intervenes in the spot market and NDF markets overseas, I think still the trend of the rupiah is keep weakening. The other things is we see that the effect of the repression during the protests, the military deployment on the street, there's also affecting the public trust to go to the shopping centers, to go to the traditional market, to open their business. And we can see that the mobility measures suggest that people are starting to stay home because of the civil unrest and also because of the government's mismanagements to handle those kind of demand from the people. Next slide, please. And we also have a lot of the studies to suggest that there is negative correlations between stance of the government towards the more military in terms of the budget, military involvement in the civil area, and the economic growth or economic prospect. So we see that from the SAN, from the Ari Eisens, from ANURS, either the case in Southeast Asia, either the case in Asia, and also the other part of the Africa, they tend to have the same conclusions that if the Prabowo governments use more military in the economic activity and also in the civil and also bureaucracy, that should be the place that civilian can contribute more. I think that's damaging the public trust. That's also damaging the investors' trust, international bank, and also international partner trust as well. And our kind of studies, me, myself, and Dr. Zulfikar Rahmat also suggest that there is a trend towards the militarizations in our civilian lives, economic activities that also contradict with the Prabowo ambitions to have higher economic growth. Next one. And here is the fact that the authoritarian and also military driven also seen from the state budget. So if we compare in the last 5 years, the state budget for the defense and military goes up 166%. So 5 years, almost 200% growth of the military and defense budget. Meanwhile, the domestic security budget goes up 52.4%. So even higher compared with the social protection, which is only growth 2.5%. So there is still time for Mr. Prabowo, the new finance ministers of Mr. Purbaya, to revise the next state budget to employ more budget for the social protections, meeting the people demand, meeting the ride-hailing apps driver demand, and also meeting the farmers' demand rather than importing more weapons. Also deploying the personnel of military in the civilians area or civilians economic activities. So those kind of portrait or indicators that say that if we move more to the military-driven economy, I think the dream of Indonesia to achieve high-income country by 2045 is just a dream. It's so far away from the realities, and the data shows otherwise. So if we tackle this kind of the problems and give the military back again place to the barrack, back again place where military serve, not intervene in the public or civilians matters, I think that's the best way, and the state budget and economy, I think will be better and also fulfilling the demand from the consumers, also public in general. Thank you so much, and get back to you, Rani.
Thank you, Mas Bima, Mas Dimas, and Mbak Pira. We'll open the floor for question. Please raise your hand and state your name and media. For participant on Zoom, if you have any question, you can write the question on chat Twitter. Anyone have any question?
Oh iya, boleh kalau bisa.
Okay. If for the participant on Zoom, if you have any question, you can use raise hand features.
Okay. Okay.
If there's no question, I think we can have a if you like to have an interview, we can do a doorstep interview afterwards. Okay, thank you for your time today. The press kit and open letter will be shared on social media and our website. Thank you again for today. Have a great day.
I like to work fast, and switching between all my work apps was slowing me down. With ClickUp, all my work is in one place. My docs, tasks, calendar, and even my team's chat is seamlessly connected so we can work efficiently. If you want to finish your work faster, you should get ClickUp. Create your workspace for free. Do it. What are you waiting for?
Buat website praktis dengan AI Website Builder Hostinger. Tulis konsep website, lalu tunggu AI buat website. AI bisa atur warna, gambar, font, dan teks sesuai konsep yang Anda mau. Edit tampilan website sesuka hati dengan editor drag and drop. Klik online kan untuk munculkan website di Google. Tersedia bantuan CS 24 jam dan jaminan 30 hari uang kembali. Coba AI Website Builder Hostinger sekarang. Hostinger 3, 2, online.